Yeah, I'm super loud.
Oh my god.
That's too much, Lauren.
What?
All right. Turn her down.
I want to hear every inch of you guzzling cum.
And just to balance everyone.
That's good. That's a good cum
Can you hear?
guzzling level.
Can everybody hear me now?
Are you recording?
Yes.
Nasty bitch.
Reveal how we set our levels.
Those are all Lauren noises. I just want it known. What did you say to me? I asked you if you liked my shirt, which has embroidery on. Is that what it'd be called?
It's a
Lace?
it's a lace knit. It's not lace. It's like a crochet doily
It is.
as a shirt.
And so it has spaces in between the way it's made. And you were like, what did you think?
I know. I said, "Are you naked under there?" And you said, "No, I have a black T-shirt on." I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." I couldn't remember what your chest hair looked like, and then there was a lot of inferences that happened after that.
You thought that maybe the darkness underneath this shirt was made by my thickly woven and grown chest hair.
I don't think about your chest hair very often, and so I didn't imagine what it looked like. Yeah. I don't see your chest.
Scott, any thoughts? Do you think about my chest hair very often? No. Asshole.
We are both we're both similarly like fair-haired, and so I figure you have the same sort of chest hair situation I do, which is not dark.
No, mine's dark.
You have dark chest hair?
He's taking a.
Oh, you're showing me your leg hair.
It's the same color
And
as
it's
your leg hair.
Dark. For the
then
listener.
What are you complaining about?
For the
She's
listener.
assuming you have a
Ari
pelt.
is pointing his toes,
A beautiful
very
pelt.
delicately, and showing us his hairy ass legs.
Yeah, I don't like them. I mean, I don't quite have dysphoria over them, but they're
very
just
masculine.
Yeah, but they're just.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so Scott just
You're a
pulled up
blonde little
the
baby.
Yeah,
I'm a little
he
I
has
have
faint little wisps.
golden wisps of hair.
I can hear like the Celtic Woman, production starting up.
Imagine somebody with leg hair, and then you dip their legs entirely into bleach. That's what his hair look like on his legs.
I'm a powder man. Is that what you're
Scott's legs are fields of barley and gold.
There are women who would kill for this leg hair right now. Wait, maybe not.
Oh, you'd like
Maybe
not
not.
to have the man who has it, but to have it for themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
If only.
How's your pubes, Lauren?
How did we jump to pubes?
Welcome to our new show. How's your pubes?
Can I lay down and inspect your
We're
pubes?
inviting a.
Welcome to the
Okay,
show.
we have a new question for every guest. Question 1: how's your pubes?
Question 2. How can you see into my eyes like open doors?
The evanescence. Just love
That's question number 2. How can you see into my eyes like open doors?
That's what we
We're
ask
never
every
gonna have a
guest.
guest again. This is why we don't have guests.
it. We're hemorrhaging talent right now because of you two.
That's true. Adrian's gone.
Adrian abandoned us.
Adrian did what everyone wants to do right now, which is move to another country.
But we have not been on since September, so a lot of stuff has happened. That's why I was able to write down a bunch
What's
of
happened?
topics.
Fuck off. Nothing happened.
With me, I've had stuff happen.
Oh,
You're looking at a man now who has been to New York City. I have now been.
you'd never been?
You've
Never
never been
before.
to New York City?
Never been to New York City. I spent Christmas to New Year's there.
Okay.
First time ever. And it was great. It was a wonderful experience.
How many times were you robbed?
0.
Shut up.
People kept
You're
joking
lying.
about that. And I was like, I'm too friendly. Like, you're going to try to start robbing me. And by the end, we're going to be friends. We're going to go like get a slice of pizza together.
That does check out. I feel like if I was robbing you, you would win in the end. And we would
I
be
just
friends.
persistently be like, you don't want to rob me, buddy. We want to hang out together instead.
I would immediately shoot you so I wouldn't have to have a conversation about your leg hairs.
Wow, you really are. You're so New York.
That's true. If you started talking about movies, I'd kill you. There's a reason I'd shoot you right away.
As soon as someone robs me, or they try to rob me, I'm going to lift up my leg and we're going to have a conversation about my leg hair. And they're just going to lose all interest in any wallets or jewelry I might have
They'd
on.
be like, those are some fields of gold and barley, Playboy.
They
But-
probably just feel so bad for you. It's like,
What has happened
Oh,
to
I
you,
thought
sir?
I was robbing a man.
oh,
Never mind.
They're like, I know women who would kill for those legs.
Mhm, yes.
But no, I had a very uneventful I had a pretty uneventful New York City trip, but that was what I wanted. Pizza, bagel, hot dog. Good.
That's what you wanted out of your trip to New
Yes.
York? Is
What am I supposed to
is
want?
pizza,
Did you
bagel,
go
and a
to
hot
any
dog?
museums or like Broadway musicals?
I went
or-
to
Yeah, did you do
no
fentanyl
Broadway
or
musicals.
fuck a whore? Like
what?
Sorry, what?
What was the first thing?
Do fentanyl.
Fentanyl. I did not. No. It was I did no Broadway shows. What was the other thing?
museums.
Museums. Didn't do museums
Oh
this
my
time.
god.
So what did you do any like cultural stuff besides eating bagels and pizza?
Cultural. I walked around. I looked at a lot of the things.
Mm-hmm.
Rode the Staten Island ferry.
That's cool.
Went to Ground Zero and like touched the Empire State Building and looked at the Chrysler Building and walked on the High Line. Just New York things.
Oh, you stuck to really like you were like geocaching. You were like,
What?
I
What does
gotta
that
go
mean?
to these coordinates.
No, I was just
and
wandering around.
Sniff the concrete.
What am I supposed to have done? What would you do with a week
Couldn't
in New
think
York?
of anything. I don't know. It's New York. There's nothing going on in
I
it.
don't know.
No, it's fair. It's a great question. Just go and see
Licking light
that
bulbs,
monuments are
you
there
know?
and then leave and have
I saw that library with the lions out front. I like looked at it.
you geocached. I understand your trip now perfectly. You were geocaching. He had some coordinates and
Yeah.
he got to the coordinates and a little like noise happened.
Right.
Yeah.
Like achievement on Steam.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then he was like, did it.
Grand
It's
Central
like Pokemon
Station.
Go, but
Blue,
without, it's
Blue,
like
blue, blue.
Pokemon Go without the Pokemon.
He went, yes.
Grand Central Station.
Thank you.
Dwayne Reed. I got Dwayne Reed. We took a day trip to Philly. So
Did you have a cheesesteak?
I went to the cheesesteak corner where you have the two cheesesteak places, and I had one from each.
Can I ask you a question? Did you go inside of any buildings that weren't food establishments?
I went
Scott's straining.
Just wanted
I mean, I did a little bit.
like what?
Scott's stalling by lying. Scott's. I'm sure I did.
I went into a souvenir
I'm sure
shop.
I did. You.
Oh,
Oh, that's rough.
Woo!
They had a lot of
Something-
different magnets. You could
something
get
just released
license plates
inside
with
of
your
me.
name on them.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Different
I'm
things.
so proud of you.
All right, never mind. We don't have to talk
This is
about
the
New
new-
York City.
We already did.
We covered
We
everything,
covered the whole
which
thing.
was nothing.
That's what I was saying. It's not that much. It's,
All right, Scott, I implore you to do something cultural next time you go to
What
New
is
York.
cold? What do I have to do?
Get a
What?
hand job behind Hamilton
Is that where they are behind Hamilton?
if you use your app. They can be anywhere.
What's the grinder
That's
noise?
the mouth one.
What's the grinder
Yeah.
noise?
Yeah, it's like kind of like gadunk.
Gadunk.
Dun-dun. That's the Netflix.
Yes, that is the Netflix.
Sorry, I got distracted by Grinder.
But
Okay.
the Netflix one is very close to dun-dun,
Were you
the
just fantasizing
Law
about
and Order.
Grindr for a
I
second?
started dissociating because something awkward happened to me today where I had like a cringe trifecta. Should I talk about it?
Yes.
yes, because that will lead
Literally the
perfectly
only-
into something else. Go ahead.
Yeah, we can stop talking about how Scott didn't go into buildings.
I went in Rockefeller Center.
He got a bite.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right, so
Cringe. What'd you do that's so cringe?
it's just been a cringe couple of days. So I hit on a guy on Grinder, and it turned out to be my friend's friend who I met at a birthday party
okay.
like a month ago, and I didn't recognize him, and I had no idea what is a good follow up, so I just was honest. I said, "Face palm, I did not recognize you," and then radio silence. But I hit on this person, and he responded with, "Hey, Ari," and I was like, "Oh God, oh God!" Like,
What is that feeling? The pit of your stomach drops,
Yes.
and you're like, you can't undo anything.
I was
right?
like, I know it's like 6 of my clients, and they're all gathered around a single phone, and
But did you know
saying hello to
immediately?
me, and they're all like, "Hi, we're your underage clients. How are you, Ari?" Like you know what I mean? Like my brain is like the worst thing that could happen is happening.
Oh, you think somebody's catfishing you? One of your 16-year-old clients are catfishing you on the other
It's
side
just
of Grindr?
the brain is in such a hurry to say something has gone wrong that the whole floor just falls out, and I'm like, but
Was that the whole story?
That's
Was
the
there
whole story,
anything
and I
else?
just feel
Okay.
so nauseous from it because I just feel embarrassed.
That you forgot somebody that you met briefly at a party a month ago?
I hit on him, and he was like, he remembered me. He was like,
Was
"Hey,
it-
Ari," and I was like, "I don't know you," but in fairness, I don't think I talked to him. Like, I think we played a game around a very long table, but I feel like a dickhead. But anyway, 3 different things happened that bothered me. I don't remember what the third one is anymore. But there was an event supposed to happen where my supervisor was supposed to show everyone how to use neurofeedback as a therapy, and she rescheduled the event. And me and 3 other people apparently did not get the reschedule into our brains. So we all showed up at the office. I was already there and it was on my calendar on my phone. So I just was like, I guess it's today. I don't know. So I just like stayed at the office. And then 3 people came and everyone was confused because my boss wasn't there. And so we were sitting in the lobby making small talk, and somebody asked about encounter groups, which are like these very sort of no holds barred therapy groups where people can say whatever the fuck they want.
Oh my God, yes.
So
let's have a podcast there.
So so I was trying to playfully be like, I love encounter groups in a way, but they have a rich history of being of people doing them in the 70s and in all sorts of alternative spaces in California. They're kind of like a California relic.
What's the benefit of that? Like, what's the benefit of making a space
trauma dumping on strangers?
That's often how they're remembered, is for them not working very well.
Right.
Like I met a therapist once who had come up during the 70s, and she was like, people thought there should be. She was saying people thought that there should be more boundaries. And she was saying
rude.
She was like, honestly, having sex with insane people from encounter groups was the best part of going to an encounter group. Like having any kind of like official boundaries around, like in the community that separated like clients from practitioners or whatever, was like, I don't think she was a therapist at the time, but she was just saying like it was a fucking free for all. And she was like, the things people think about conventionally being wrong in therapy were the best parts because the therapy was so bad.
So it's just a bunch of banshees screaming at each other in a room and then fucking after?
So, I mean, if you've seen the documentary Wild Wild Country, then you already have some guess of like what people do in cults, which is like they horse trade trauma stories and then have sex and you know. So
okay.
So I made what I consider a very like reasonable comment at a reasonable distance, which is I like going to these sorts of groups if there's not enough personality disorders present to make the thing go off the rails. But if there is, and I made a joke, it was like, oh, this is familiar. I can sort of smell gas, like we're in trouble. Like if you're in a group like that and there's a bunch of personality disorders present, it doesn't go well.
Is it more entertaining if there's a bunch of personality disorders, or is it like
sometimes?
Because that sounds fun.
Sometimes you can feel your wounds healing when you watch personality disorders out in the wild when you grew up around them like you and I did.
Yeah.
It was.
Oh yeah, I can sense a personality disorder from a mile away.
It was part of my healing process. I describe it as thus: in group settings, when I would see people with personality disorders struggling to relate to people, I felt that it allowed me to give the problem back to the world. Like I grew up with it in my family, thinking that it was my family's own private hell.
Right.
And it just helped me to, anyway, I'm talking a lot, but I'm going to finish the story.
Yeah.
So I'm there with like 2 other therapists that I don't even know and one therapist coworker, and I'm making this joke and whatever. I'm figuring I'm going to leave it at that. No, my coworker went to California Institute for Integral Studies.
Oh, fun.
And they have an encounter group, T group thing for students that is very well facilitated, that you do like as the first part of getting a therapy degree, a counseling degree there. Or they did until the year he took it, and it destroyed the institution ever doing it again.
Erected.
Can we know what happened?
Please.
I'm like on the edge of my seat, salivating, like my mouth is ready for this gaping.
So it's not going to be fun. But
Can't
It'd be
wait.
fun for
but
me.
it is titillating.
Ooh.
Sounds fun.
So I guess we could decide later if we publish any of this.
We're gonna publish all of it. Continue.
So where do I start? So he starts telling basically like the worst story he can think of, which I really disrecommend anybody ever do. Like when someone brings up a topic and you go, "Oh, I have a horrible version of that." Maybe don't, especially when you're with strangers in like the waiting room of a professional setting.
Sure. Trauma dumping, maybe not the best idea
I
with
think-
a bunch of strangers. Continue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he also has like a very light affect. Like he's just like sort of smiling and bright eyed, and he's like, "Oh yeah, and then this happened and that happened," and it's all like the Holocaust. And
Oh
it's
my goodness.
So anyway, he
And then everybody in the room murdered each other.
yeah. So he was
in
like
a nice circle.
he was like in my encounter group, like people were hiding behind their chairs. People were like screaming and yelling. There were people who quit the program after experiencing this therapy group. There were people who it was agreed upon that they would never address each other for the entire
My
rest
mouth
of
is a gape.
Whoa.
their entire rest of their education together, which was years.
Holy shit.
It was the height. So there's no juicy details. It was, a time of Me Too and BLM having happened not that long before. And all he said was those topics came into the setting,
Okay.
and there was no success at facilitating them.
On Grindr, I have a question about this.
Mhm.
Was the giveaway that he knew your name? Was he like, "Hi, Ari," or is your
Yes.
name on? So
No,
names
it's
aren't
not
on it.
on there. No.
Because the one time I was on a thing, it was everyone's first name was there, so it wouldn't have been a giveaway.
The one time you were on what?
The one time I was on a dating app,
Oh.
Tinder? Was it Tinder?
it was Hinge,
Oh.
but everyone had like names.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was.
I
you
think
sign up with your
Grindr's
name.
more just gaping assholes.
Grindr's.
So him saying hi,
Yeah.
Ari.
Do you want to know what his listed name was?
Wait, do you get to pick
Yes,
one?
I want to know
Wait,
what
you
his
get to
listed
pick.
name
You get to
was.
pick your own.
You type in whatever.
What's yours? Like dark.
Oh, mine is so embarrassing.
What is it? Oh, come on, Ari.
It's so embarrassing.
Coal Bandit
It's-
75.
Cutie booty.
It's so embarrassing.
What do you got?
Fuck my ear 77.
I don't know if I can bear to say it. That's painful.
Only peeps with no teeth.
But
So-
you were gonna out someone else. Oh man. Okay.
Well, no, his is like classic. It's straight down the middle. His is verse for verse. So it's just like it's the total. It's men. You know what I mean? Men.
Okay.
It's men are not. Men are direct. You know what I mean? So he's like, I'm on the app. Fuck, want to 3, 4, 5. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
not. It's just he's just letting us know what he needs. You know what I mean? It's like polls for holes. Was
Nice.
like.
Whereas you have a name
Lube
that's more,
jobs.
you have a name that's more
67.
like Poetic Angel.
Oh,
199.
It's so painful.
What do you
So
got?
the origin of it is an excuse, but I'm just gonna say it with before the excuse. It's oh god, it's so embarrassing. It's Dreamy Penguin. So
That
I-
fits.
so-
You're a dreamy penguin.
Is this because your pee-pee's real cold when you fuck someone? Why are you dreamy penguin?
actually, yeah, stick my dong deep into some ice cubes, a big old bowl of them, and then
Sounds
shove
wonderful.
it on in.
And it's like black and white pattern? Is that what?
It's a dixicle. Take it. Take it.
You should change your name to Dixicle on there.
Dixicle's not bad.
It's probably taken.
It's probably
On
taken.
Grindr.
No, but I like. Do you know how there's like some websites that print like a series of words that are irrelevant in a series? That's what I was doing. Was like just finding some words that are irrelevant in a
Oh,
series.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they'll generate a URL for a GIF,
Mhm.
and it's like Telegram, lizard, iguana,
Yeah,
or
that's
whatever.
how tech names are created.
I was basically trying to think of like something that didn't annoy me that I was just gonna put
Yeah.
because I hated the idea of having a serious name. But the idea of it being serious, I'm just cringing at myself today.
Oh, I can confess to one. My first email was I couldn't figure out what to do and so I wrote it was Lone Scott instead of Lone Ranger. I guess that was what I was going for.
Loans.
Lone Scott. It was at like Yahoo.com.
That's so cute.
That
That's
was my
like,
first ever email address.
That's like your name was like Scott Jedi.
But then I moved on. I had like a zillion after that. But
Did I ever tell you
zillion.
what the AOL handle that I created for my mom was?
No.
So my mom was an artist. R.I.P. She was an artist, and she wanted to get on AOL, and I was probably like in my teens. Maybe I was like 16, 17, something like that. And I was sitting with her, and we were trying to come up with handles, and there weren't a ton that were used at the time. We were sitting down and we were trying to figure something out, and what we created was Life of Art, which is really cute.
Yeah.
But if you look
Sounds
at
like
it,
it sounds like
So-
a movie.
but if you look at it
Sounds
written
like an
out,
award.
It's Life of Fart.
she had it for decades.
Mom.
That was her email
Life-
address
It's Life
for
of Fart.
decades.
I
I-
quite like a Life
Oh.
of Fart.
She
Top
also
of the
had a
morning to you. Having a
fantastic
life of Fart.
It's top of the gassy morning to you. Sorry, go ahead. What? It's quite a Life of Fart.
The other day here in Dublin on my Life of Fart.
It's a Life of Fart I lead. An introspection.
She had to know. She had to know because she had a good.
You're
sense
not
of humor.
sure if she knew?
No.
She just carried on?
Yep.
Better
have
that
no
we
clue.
don't ever speak of such things.
I have no idea. She's passed away, so I can't even ask her.
If I could go turn back time, Mom, and see you one more time, I'd ask if you knew that you led a life of fart. Did you know the whole time, Mom?
I hope she did. She had to.
Well, speaking of shame, like cringing.
Speaking of shame,
Speaking of shame,
cringing.
that's our new show's
cringe word-
name.
Speaking of shame, how's your pubes? And speaking of shame, speaking of cringe moments, I need to bring Ari to court. Part of this, like I had to call the podcast a session because we need to have a court case.
I will say up front, because I know at least where this court case originated. I'm afraid we also can't publish this.
Oh no!
I don't know. I don't know what you're
Can
gonna
we speak
say.
about it vague enough that we can? Because
Go-
otherwise, we're not going to have a fucking episode.
No, that's okay. I mean,
Oh.
if there's anything our listeners want, I mean, it's
Okay, so am
Less of
am
us.
I the judge then?
Now I'm curious. Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, we never even wrapped up where Adrian is. He's out in Toronto.
one
on
of
the-
our
like,
jurors is not present.
Last time we did this was for the show and tell episode, and we had two judges. How does this work? I guess judges.
We had 2 litigants.
Now we just have Lauren Supreme, and she will be adjudicating all manners of guilt in this matter.
Okay.
I
need
for one would
something
like to
I need a
be-
gavel. Do a gavel noise at some point.
Gavel, gavel.
Gavel. All right. This.
That's the gay justice.
Wait, what?
Okay, now bailiff, remove her.
So wait,
I'm the judge.
you don't think we can talk about
Can't
this? You know what?
remove me.
Wait,
I'm
do
a
you
power
remember what this
bottom.
is?
Leave me.
We can definitely talk about it. Let's start.
The other day, I go to
Wait, hold on. Gavel. Court is in session. Go ahead.
Boom, boom, bam, boom.
Hear ye. All rise. And
Doot, doot.
uh,
Law and Order sound.
defendant Ari and plaintiff Scott
He's accused of being a farty bottom.
having a life of fart.
Life of art.
He's accused.
He stands before us accused of life of fart.
He's awfully accused of having a life
Look
of
at this man. Doesn't he have a life of fart? Isn't it obvious?
Your Honor.
Your Honor.
Sustained. Keep going.
So the other day, I go over to hang out with Ari because I haven't seen him in a while and say hello. And then we decide we're not hungry, so we're going to hang out and then run an errand. He's like, while you're here, can you run an errand with me? I said, great. And so I said, I can do that. I'm a helpful man. I will happily help you out. So
You were with him and you ran an errand with him or for him?
ran an errand with him.
For
Okay.
me.
For you.
I needed your
But
help.
you were there too. I didn't like leave
Oh,
that.
yeah,
I didn't
yeah,
leave
yeah,
you.
yeah.
We went, but he called to make sure this place was open.
Okay.
And the lady answered and talked, and he's like, "Hey, wow, we're letting you open. I'm going to come in. I'm going to bring my friend. Is this cool?" She's like, "Yeah, I'll be here." And then he hangs up and he goes, "Could you tell?" And I go, "What?" He goes, "Could you tell she was Japanese from her manners?" I said, she has such wonderful manners. Could you tell? Like, because he knows I lived in Japan, and so I have.
Oh, like could you hear the accent?
No. My argument was she's so polite and
Okay.
what, like, I don't know, socially honor bound. Is that racist?
No, maybe. Well, I'll look
I'm
into it.
fucked.
Delete it if not.
Yeah. I mean,
No, it's nice. It was nice. It was just like he's like my partner told me she's Japanese and she's got good manners, and so I was like, cool.
It is the case. The priming event was my half Japanese partner told me that he knows that she's Japanese.
Right.
So I passed this piece of information.
okay, got
on.
it.
I feel like I'm
okay.
Telling the story poorly. Yes.
Okay.
I will
So
help.
I'm gonna. So yeah, should Ari start over?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Wait, what?
No.
Well, we don't have to start over, but
So I go with him to the place and we have a lovely time. We do all our business, and then
is the Japanese woman there?
yeah, this is who we're interacting with.
Okay.
And she's a lovely
she
person.
is in fact Japanese.
I don't know. I didn't ask. And so
Wait
Is
for
she-
it.
on the
Wait
way
for it.
out,
Okay.
on the way out, we start talking about podcasts, and I tell her about my podcast that I do with like stories of when I lived in Japan and things like that, because I speak Japanese and all these things.
Okay.
And so I
And
was like,
everyone's
oh,
like, what? Just white guys talking about his podcast. So everybody's.
so I'm looking for a way in because we were talking about podcasts, and I'm like, oh, I go, are you Japanese? Because I'm like going to tell her about all the Japanese things on my podcast,
Uh-huh.
and she goes, no, I'm Korean. And I immediately go, oh, well, I do a lot of things about all over Asia, and so there will be many interesting. I feel
You
like a
did.
total
You
buffoon.
did. It
I
was so good.
Just am like scrambling for how to get out of this awkward, and just like haga 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 haga. And
So,
That's
so
racist.
Ari,
Don't
so
say
like,
that.
just to clarify, for break 1 second. So
Yeah.
Ari gave you
Erroneous
like
information.
The intel.
like a layup
Faulty
to hang
intel.
yourself,
and
then you did in fact
Yes.
hang yourself. Okay, continue. Mhm.
I don't think there's a lot else to this, but
I
will
walked
say
out
The
and I was-
highlight is absolutely that moment where he had a social seizure, because she's looking at him having been like, "Yeah, no, I'm Korean," and then he's sort of like, "And there are Chinese, and there are."
like everything in me wanted to be like, stop. I'm not the kind of guy who would assume you're from a place if I hadn't been told, but I can't
Say
throw
that.
anyone else under the bus right now.
I would have
So-
immediately thrown Ari under the bus. And
That
then like
is your
this
style.
fucker
That-
said you were Japanese.
You would have pointed directly.
He
be like,
told
"Him.
me.
He
did it.
told me.
That's his fault.
and I was trying to figure it out so I could anyway.
I kept it in.
I would have gotten out of it too, if we passed the buck fully along, because once it's intra-Asian hostility, it's all kosher. So like if I had said, "Oh, my half Japanese boyfriend told me that he thinks you're Japanese," it would have been in the family, and she would have been like, "Oh, okay." Like we're never done talking shit about each other as Asian people. Sold. But it didn't happen.
No.
So
I
Scott,
just
Scott
ate
was
it,
up on the cross.
which was painful because I have such, a good history with the Asian community that this was
Scott,
real.
don't say that.
A
Do
real.
you-
What?
Don't say that. That's making it
This is-
worse.
Do you have a wall?
That's making it worse.
Do you have certificates on a wall?
He has
How
a
do you
great
know?
wall.
I have a certificate. I think I have a certificate
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. So what is the what?
It's
So
so-
we're still gavel gavel.
So I need Ari to be declared guilty of
Of
doing
what?
that to me.
It's a short story. Yeah.
Of what?
Of putting me in that position where
of giving you rope to hang yourself with, and then you did in fact hang yourself.
I
I,
was-
I have a good feeling about this case.
no, this cannot be what's happening. No, he set me up. He set me up by telling me one thing, and then I believed him and acted on that information. What was I supposed to? Was I supposed to be like, he says you're Japanese? Is that true? Probably not.
May I make a counter argument?
No.
Okay.
Do you rest? If it pleased the court,
Yeah.
I do not.
if it pleased the court, it was really funny.
But I was there helping.
The defense rests. If it pleased the court, it was real good.
It was really rude, and I can never go back. I can never show my face there again.
At the
I'm just-
mailbox again.
Because I'm now now that person thinks I'm one of those guys, and I'm not one of those guys.
You know, it's weird.
Are you not one of those
I'm not
guys?
one of those guys.
Well, that's weird. I went back and there was a picture of you up on the wall, and it was like,
A
"Don't."
big old cross on his
We like this
face.
guy. Wait, oh,
It said no
the other way.
services for this cracker, and it was just like big old.
Was it just a picture of his leg hair?
It was a picture.
It was like, "Are you from England?" And I was like, "No,
I've got a life of heart.
life of heart."
I'm gonna. Okay, so
Okay,
yeah.
so that's my case.
All right. Does anything else? Do you guys need closing arguments or anything?
I'll have another closing argument.
Okay.
It's the same. Your Honor, if I'm guilty of anything, it's being too much fun.
Did you now? Can I ask a question? Did you say she's definitely Japanese, or did you say
He was
my boyfriend
so
thinks
sure.
my boyfriend thinks she's Japanese? My question for you, Ari, is this something you came to on your own, or was it purely from your boyfriend's brain?
It was absolutely purely from. I would never think that I can guess, and in fact, he, as a naughty Asian fellow, has declared himself able to tell
He's allowed
who's
to. There,
who's Asian from what country, and
but we're not.
I have never been.
That's correct.
Your Honor.
Yes.
I am a good white person.
Okay.
I would never.
Ooh, let him keep talking about this.
I
This
would
is good.
never. Yeah, I know.
Keep
It's like
talking
it's
there.
like you just become guiltier the more you point out being a good white person. So it is kind of funny how that works.
The more you make your case, the worse it goes.
Yeah, exactly. I have a friend.
Okay.
But anyway, that is the answer.
Okay.
I don't believe I can just tell.
Okay. So can I make my ruling now?
Please.
Well, it's kind of a weird case because I am
So
guilty of.
no. Okay, keep going.
I'm not guilty of setting you up deliberately, but I'm
No.
guilty of setting you up real good, and I like it. So I mean, it kind
That
of
is true.
it
So
kind
did
of-
you think that he would
there's
make an
one
ass out of himself? Like,
no.
okay.
Oh no, that's the other thing about
We-
all of this that really like
I
is a
assumed-
linchpin in the case. He didn't have to do that.
No, I didn't have to do
He
it.
didn't have to
No.
go like, what I know about is Asia.
I thought
So
I was
I
gonna,
think the lion's share is on him because I mean he's the one who was like, I can make a connection.
I thought I was gonna look like the cat's meow. I thought it was gonna be bonus points for Scott Day.
I'm moving on the counteroffensive now. I've decided Scott needs to leave the ladies alone, but he moved too
Oh
quick.
my god.
Leave the lady.
Slipped, tripped, and fell on his dick.
You guys are both
You saw that?
disasters. I both of you are guilty. Both of you. That's my verdict. You guys are both the asshole.
I have to say that's a win.
You guys are both guilty.
Fine.
Ari,
Fine.
the fact that you the fact that you
Stop dancing.
repeated this from your boyfriend to him, knowing
Ah.
how
Knowing
like
what a weeb he is.
yes, and what a like naive little fair-haired leg boy he
Of course,
is.
I'm gonna small talk the lady.
Yes,
Of course.
It's from my new show, How to Catch a Weebitor. We caught him. I laid out
Just little
It's-
breadcrumbs.
Pocky crumbs in a trail leading to Naruto DVDs, and I caught him.
It's definitely the most mortified I've been recently, but I got over it.
Oh, it was really
I got
good.
over it.
The
Yeah, you
moment,
guys. Yeah,
It was
yeah,
only like
but
5
both
seconds.
of you are.
It's a real
both,
black mark
Both
on
of you
my-
are guilty.
There
on my
was there was a good 5 seconds of you just being like,
short circuit.
and I know Asia,
Ah,
and I know Asia.
the reason I would say that to you is because I'm thinking about Japan right now. I don't know.
Okay,
Uh,
okay. Actually, can I once? So I haven't done the sentencing. Are either
Yeah,
of
what's
you?
the
Are either of you like thinking you'll never do this again, or is
Set
this something?
Scott up. Count to 5.
He would love to do that every day of the week.
Okay.
You said you have a whole list.
I have
Oh, yeah.
some
What
stuff.
are the other things that? Was an
What else is
excellent
on my
segue.
list?
I'm glad we got guilty together, Scott. We have to go to prison together now.
We're doing our
gonna be hot.
time. What if I do not think I'd be? Never mind. We can't talk about it. I'd be terrible
you'd
at
be in
prison.
prison?
Yeah, right.
There's nothing awkward about this topic at all.
Lauren, have you ever had to think about what you would be like in prison?
Me?
Yeah.
I mean, I used to watch this. Yes, I haven't had to. I did it willingly. I used to watch this TV show called Bad Girls. It was a prison. It was kind of like Orange is the New Black,
Right.
but like way more British. And It's called Bad Girls, and there was on for several seasons, but I only watched the first 3 seasons because I liked this particular storyline. And yeah, I would imagine like what I would be like in prison. Yeah, I would definitely be the person who like tries to befriend everybody and like do favors for people.
You're
Like I would be
the
the
useful person.
I would be the useful person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That really checks out.
Like
Yeah.
no one's gonna touch me because I'm useful to like all the other
Everyone.
people. Yeah,
Right. Yeah. Like I'm people's supply chains for information. Like I would probably I'd be really good at getting information and being able to trade information. And yeah, I think that I'd probably and
So
also
you've
and
thought
also
about
stuff.
it. You've
Oh
you've
yeah, for
thought a lot.
sure. Oh yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I'd end up in the kitchen. Like, I'd probably end up in the
Oh,
kitchen,
shit, that's
working in
good.
the kitchen, and I'd be the person who could like sneak good food to people for money or cigarettes. You know,
And then
I'd
you have
probably start
access
smoking.
to knives
Yeah,
in case you have to like
shank someone.
Steven Seagal.
Well, you don't shank someone with a knife. You shank somebody with a shank. Sorry, I misspoke.
Of course. See, you have thought of this.
I have.
Scott is whipping out cars.
So I brought some things. This is on my list. I have something to show you.
He brought 2 cars. They're
Two
little
cars.
cars. They look not like real cars. They're
What do you
like.
mean? Well, they don't look like.
Are they Transformers?
Well, cars. These are cars. This is something that I discovered that is 100% useless and completely delightful. And
Little toy cars?
I can't describe it any other way. But let me show you this.
Do you back them up and then they vroom? It's the kind where you go in reverse and then they go forward.
That's the most fabulous thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
He just rammed.
Holy crap!
He just rammed one car into the anus of the other car, and then they exploded into a unicorn Pegasus.
Yes.
Is that not
holy shit?
Amazingly delightful?
That's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. You guys, oh.
Can I take that?
There needs to be a video link accompanying this podcast episode so that people can, in fact, see this.
It's one of the most delightful things I've ever discovered. It's so useless. I mean, there's no purpose for it.
Can I keep that in the therapy office? Because I actually think a few people will be cured when they see that.
I mean, it has magical powers.
Where did you get this? Can we get a link?
Got it off the internet. I can definitely do that.
Oh, you know it's $7.
You need to put a link.
You know it's $7 on AliExpress. That's the best part.
That's exactly where it came from. And that's how much.
Wait, it came from AliExpress. I'm not buying anything from there. Can you buy one for me?
Yeah, we can find. They're on Amazon.
Oh, they're on Amazon. Okay, then that's fine. Ah! Oh my god, that's so great. Oh, you guys.
The horn didn't come out.
The horn didn't come out that time. But
that's okay. It didn't matter. That's so beautiful.
It's just a delightful thing that I want to show you guys.
I don't understand how it works, and I don't want to know because I think it's so magical.
Can you hand it to me?
Yeah. The thing that's magical is that it's these cars, and you don't expect them to combine and then pop up onto spindly little legs. It's the legs part that really is like unexpected. They just become this giant thing.
This is a metaphor for you as a person, Scott.
Oh, I was scared. I thought you were going to say this is what you're like in the bedroom, Ari.
I heard your story about somebody coming on the wall.
It was like this. Yeah. When that guy came on the wall like a wax dart, it was like this. And I had a reaction that you had, like, oh, holy fucking shit. Cool.
It's a thing where you're just like, I don't know what to. I didn't expect that. Whatever was going to happen, it wasn't that.
The second time it happened, I was just as surprised and in awe.
It still
as
works.
the first time.
It's just I
am so rarely surprised and awed by anything in this world.
It's just pure delight.
It's so delightful.
So are there variations on this?
There are.
There's a bunch of others.
What are the other ones?
This is the most delightful, I will tell you.
Okay, so just for our audience, this is 2 cars. They look like Matchbox cars, but like shitty versions of Matchbox cars. They also kind of look like they would be Transformers because you can see the like seams in them.
Yeah.
And they were in fact kind of Transformers. When the front part of one car smashed into the ass part of the other car, they immediately popped up very high on these, like you said, spindly little legs into this Pegasus.
Yep.
This unicorn Pegasus. Oh my god.
It's so useless. I'm so happy that whoever designed it like made it. It's ridiculous. I like it a
This
lot.
could solve world peace. This could create world peace.
Oh yeah. Send
That's
it to-
why I'm holding it back. I don't want.
It's too powerful.
It's too powerful. I'll be.
That's the most powerful thing
target.
I've ever seen in my entire life.
It's pretty cool. Anyway,
Very different thing.
okay. Let me tell you my Jesus-y story from last week.
So did you just bring? Hold on.
What?
I just want to know. You
Yeah.
just brought the cars because they're just delightful.
Just brought the cars to show you because they're fun.
Okay.
No,
we really
no
need.
ulterior
We need to
motive.
put links. We need to put a video. Oh my god. Still, I am. This is the most amazing.
I love the reaction.
The third
I
time-
actually think your partner should do this in bed for and then have sex with you because you're so electrified by it. Like I think this should be
Yes. Goosebumps.
foreplay. Yeah, this should be
Boom.
foreplay.
I'm. Yes. Can I borrow these tonight or?
Oh yeah.
I'll watch them when I'm done.
Sweet. What was I saying? I was saying, oh, my Jesus-y story.
Okay.
So last week,
This is good.
I met-
I'm so excited. How many people? Let's count how many groups of people we can offend
yeah,
in this episode.
I'm going for the everybody.
Oh, but that's so you can't. Yeah, we.
I'm
can't
doing
we
blackout
can't even
bingo over
care.
here.
We
Hmm?
can't even care about offending Christians.
Oh yeah, no, they can't be offended.
That doesn't even
This-
register culturally.
Well, so my boss was like, "I'm coming into the town, and we're going to meet for the first time in person." I work remotely, so I've never met him in person before.
Prediction: your boss is Jesus. Keep going.
And he was like, "What should we do?" And I was like, "Oh, I have to figure out what to do. I'm terrible at that." And I didn't know what to do in Oakland. He's like, "Let's do something in Oakland." So I was like, and I look up what to do, and one of the things was you can go and look at the gardens at the.
What did you Google?
I think I googled, "What do you do in Oakland?"
Cool. Continue.
And
I
I
wish
went.
you Googled that in New York.
What?
But
Can you put in some air horns and explosions?
Bow, bow,
on that
bow, bow.
part?
Absolutely.
Wish you looked that up in New York City.
Yeah, we'll have a sound effects bonanza. So it said you could go and visit the gardens.
Did
up
you
at,
say I Googled this and this is what it said?
Yeah.
Okay, keep going.
I don't know where to take you. Welcome to town.
One of the suggestions was the Oakland Temple, the Mormon temple up on the hill, and they have like.
You can't go in unless you're Mormon, but okay.
They have a lobby.
Well, I
Okay.
learned about this, and
Okay.
so I was like, let's go meet up there and walk around the grounds. My girlfriend's a plant person. We'll like look at the plants. That'll be fun.
You can walk around outside and have a quinceanera,
He was like, cool.
and you can go to the info desk.
Well, when I got there, he was like, I'm parked at the visitor center. And I'm like, all right, so you want to just like walk around and say hi and hello? And he was like, why don't we just go into the visitor center? And so we go in there and there's like a nice older man and he's like, welcome. And then he's like, you want me to like give you a tour and tell you about our stuff? And my boss was like, yeah, sure, let's go. And so we walk through the visitor center. My girlfriend and I are very uncomfortable because we're like, we didn't plan on this part. And my boss was just like, he's a podcasting guy. So he's like, oh, interesting. He just finds everything like really interesting and he'll like
Yeah.
be fascinated in the
He
conversation.
loves it. You guys
And we
wanted to
go
leave,
through-
and he's just like
Yeah.
low key jerking it through
And
the
this guy's
Mormon
like-
temple.
This guy's like explaining about it. He's like, here's the thing, here's how we do it. He goes, the temple actually is designed with, well, there's a lot of Asian people in and around like East Bay. And so we designed it based on Buddhist stuff to make people kind of feel at home. And we're like, what?
That sounds shady as fuck.
He goes, you know that temple in Kuala Lumpur with 5 spires? That's why our temple has 5 spires, like that, Buddhist. And he goes, and then
It's a Trojan fucking
on
Mormon
the,
horse.
on the edges of it, it like goes up on the edges like a pagoda because like Chinatown, there's a lot of Asia stuff and there's a lot of like pagodas go up.
This
And
really
what am I
happened.
going-
Holy shit!
This really
is
happened.
Literally cultural. Oh my god! Did you record
I'm standing
this?
with-
This is the most cultural appropriation thing I've
Well, isn't
ever
that
heard in my
what's
entire life.
isn't that what's really funny and striking about it is it's so not every day. Like it's 2025. You don't hear anybody strike up a conversation saying I culturally appropriated. Let me tell you about how. Want to like to hear it? Here it go.
Aren't you proud of me?
Yes.
This man was an older man. He was not graceful
I like how you
with
keep
how to.
emphasizing that. Like
Well,
like
when he talked about black people, he would say the blacks, and that was really hard to deal with.
Lauren just closed her eyes and shook her head,
And he was
like reflexively.
but he was saying that he was like, we shaped it like a pagoda to make, just kind of like make people feel at ease with it around
and
their.
if you put it all together, the Asians and the blacks are gonna love it.
Yeah, we have segregated bathrooms.
But he's telling
for-
this to me.
right.
I'm with my boss, who's an Asian man, and my girlfriend, who's an Asian woman, and he's like telling this whole thing. It was just very awkward.
Well, when I went for a tour, it was a white person taking me through the hallways because they had that brief time when it was open to the public.
Yeah.
And
Did you go?
Yeah, I did. And it's just really awkward because a white person is taking you through it, and then there's just Samoans blocking the hallways. And so you just are like doing a tour, and all these, like, there'll just be like strategically placed Samoans who don't say a word and look at you.
Just large people that are keeping you from going certain
And
directions.
yeah, and they're like, not this hallway, but they don't say it. They're just like, hello. Like, and of course, all you're thinking as a white person leads you past a bunch of speechless Samoans is like, there was a mission somewhere where you took advantage of Samoan people somewhere and they became citizens of Mormonia or whatever. And it's
They
just,
get their own planet.
it's just awkward.
It was so like, it was so strange. The guy was being nice and he was explaining. He like,
That's Scientology. Never.
we
mind.
get to the, we got to the like lobby part, and there's like a giant marble Jesus statue, and he goes, "Hey, we have like a 3-minute recording of Jesus talking, like an actor saying Jesus stuff. You want
The
to?
statue's gonna talk.
Do you want to sit and look at the statue and listen to it?"
Was this like an AI generated?
I was gonna say
type?
this is giving like ChatGPT sadness.
No, it's he's got actors. They have an actor who's read this, and I'm like, no, we can like, and my boss is like, yeah, we can do that, and so.
I love. I love
my
your
God.
boss. Your
Yeah,
boss is
is
amazing.
a pervert.
Yeah.
So we
your
sit
boss
down.
is amazing, and I want to do everything
We
with your
sit
boss
down.
because he's just going to casually be like, "Yeah, hang yourself further."
we just sat down in front of this giant statue of Jesus, and then he goes over to the wall and he goes, "We actually have this in several languages," and he starts listing off all the languages that he has it in. And I'm like, I think English, probably the one we've all been using up until now. So he goes bloom, and we listen to like a Hallmark Channel level actor reading out like this chunks of Jesus talk for like 3 minutes. It was just phrases from the Bible, literally just Bible verse phrases about the universe stuff.
I do wish my girlfriend was here because she lived in Utah for quite a long time and was very exposed to Mormonism. And I'm
That sounds bad and sad.
yeah.
It was fascinating. And then he like was like, "I'll walk you around outside," and I was like, no. And boss was like, "Yeah, come on." And so we walked with this guy, and he like showed us all these things. Yeah, he's great. But he showed us this like this he showed us this plaque about this ship that went over the East Coast and picked up a bunch of Mormon people who were having problems where people didn't like their religion, and took them down around the coast of South America back up and landed in California. That's how they arrived here. Like,
I'm sorry.
In the
So
1840s.
they took people from the East Coast
Uh-huh.
and went all the way down past like Argentina
Right.
and around. Okay.
To get to California.
That was a shitty carnival.
That's how they did
cruise.
it. And they got here faster than, according to this guy, faster than the people who were going on land, because it was that
I believe
difficult.
that.
But landed here, and pre it being San Francisco, doubled the size of the town, basically took over. And then like a bunch of people went up and got gold during the gold rush, gave it to the church. That's how the church got so much money. And I go,
this is the 1840s.
1840s.
Okay, you said the 40s, and I was like,
Sorry.
that seems like
1840s.
okay.
But I looked at that. I go, oh, interesting. So did these people like get out of having a civil war? Like, that's my question. I go, did they not have to fight in the Civil War because they like left right before? And he goes, it's interesting. Like in Utah, Brigham Young became the governor, and he didn't discriminate against black people, but the laws of the state said he had to, so he did. Oh my gosh, this story is being terrible. Never mind. But
No, that's very interesting.
he
I
was
had no
like,
idea.
he was like talking
What's so
about,
bad about
and he
that?
goes, and he just started volunteering stuff, and he was like, yeah, we had to kind of basically not like black people for a really long time, and then in 1973 there was a decision that said that we were allowed to, and it was okay. and everybody rejoiced. And we were all just like
Oh yeah,
sitting
no,
there.
it's kind of like how they decided that Jews were white at some point. Somebody was like, "Oh yeah, Jews are white, so we can have more of them." So there's somebody like literally somebody sometime in like the 70s was like, "Okay, well, we need more Mormons, so I guess we can fuck with people who aren't white."
But the visitor center experience was very, I don't know if you guys watch Severance at all, but like
Yeah.
it felt like the section where they like go and look at the history and see all those statues and stuff. It
Yes.
felt exactly like that, except just, the Latter-day Saints version of it.
Well,
It
the
was really
history of
interesting.
Mormonism
fucking
is
creepy.
insane.
Yeah, it was weird.
But it's bizarre to me that he would actively bring up segregation as a topic when I had to just look it up to see what Wikipedia said about it specifically, but they didn't allow Black people to be in the priesthood of the religion until 1978.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And
78 is when he goes, and then everyone rejoiced. That's how he contextualized
why
it.
would you dive on the grenade and just pull the pin in front of relative strangers?
I do
Like,
not know.
you know what's urgent? That I tell you everything racial
Yep.
as you're touring there we could do that with anything. We could go into a Krispy Kreme and be like, this was built by slavery, because I'm sure it was. But like, why would you be like, oh, are you just here for an hour? Let's talk about race.
Because he was so he was so like he was so the opposite of quote unquote woke that he
Yes.
didn't know that he was doing anything wrong.
No clue.
It's the Bay Area.
He goes
wild.
He must live at the Mormon temple.
He goes,
wild.
the Mormons,
That is of
the Mormons who went to Utah, he goes, they arrived in Utah and it was a real blessing because, well, there weren't any other whites there. And so nobody was there to persecute them. And it was just Native Americans. They were just surrounded by Native Americans who they loved and they were working well with. And I'm like, how's that going now in Utah? How's the, is it still not a lot of whites there or what? But it was just, then he was like, yeah, and that when everyone was good there because then all of a sudden a bunch of
we can make our
Southern,
own slaves.
yeah, he's like Southern Mormons showed up and they brought their slaves and that was a thing anyway. And then he would like go on to another thing and I was like, what are we doing? It was such a weird bananas conversation.
I guess it's better than telling the story of Joseph Smith.
I don't even know that story.
We got a little bit of that.
You don't know that story?
We got a
That
little bit of
shit
that
is
too.
Funny as hell.
Really?
Oh, it is inherently hysterical because the origin of the religion was some stone soup level shit. You know the stone soup story, right? Where somebody comes with a stone and he's like, I can make an amazing soup with this stone. I just need you all to bring in carrots and chicken broth and like some potatoes. And so everybody in the village brings an ingredient
I've heard the story.
and they make a soup. And so he's like, yeah, and I'll put in the stone. Okay, well, Joseph Smith basically did that to start the religion. He was hungry and he was like, but there's some plates buried. And I just need to walk around with you and we're going to find these golden plates that were buried by angels. I'm getting a little tired though. Do y'all have some food? Maybe you could feed me, and then we could keep looking for these golden plates. Like he was a straight up like starving homeless person who was like, but I'm
sounds like a wannabe Indiana Jones.
But I'm gonna take you to the gold, and in the meantime, can we stop at 7-Eleven? Because I just want to get some taquitos, and then and so they kept going around looking for plates, and then finally, because you got to deliver something after everyone's taken you to Costco and gotten you some pallets of
spam,
pamplemousse and spam.
Yeah.
They dig up a hole and he's like, oh, yep, the angels made them invisible. They're right there. Do you guys have any gum? Do you have some Skittles? I'm hungry. They're right there, by the way. They're invisible. I'm gonna transcribe them later, but just pull them out. Ooh, they're heavy. I'm pulling them out now. We found them. I'm not This is the start of the religion.
Wasn't he like 14?
Amazing.
I think he was straight up SNL sketch. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Wasn't he like 14 at this time? Like I believe
that. I don't remember.
I think that is.
I would say it's definitely more kids in the hall.
It is more kids in the hall than SNL. It's too brilliant and strange for SNL. It has to be kids in the hall.
That's amazing. Can we start our own religion that way?
Apparently.
I think the key component is lots of money.
He didn't have money.
But he got other people to give him.
Yeah, that's easy.
See, it took you a second, but then you said what it really.
Oh,
Yeah, you got to steal a bunch of
I
money
see.
from people you're lying to. Yeah.
So our current political system?
Are we doing this? I said that we'd save that for the end. Lauren and I talked about how we have to talk about politics at the end if we talk about it at all.
Because it'll just sidetrack the entire
it's
rest
such a
of whatever.
runny pile of gravy that it'll smother any other.
It is a runny pile of gravy.
It's like the Great Molasses Massacre.
The Great Molasses Massacre.
What? Do you not know the Great Molasses Massacre? I don't know if it's actually.
That sounds
I'm
like a
actually calling it
Goosebumps.
the
That sounds like
correct
a Goosebumps title.
It was some East Coast town. Do you remember this, Ari?
The Great Molasses Massacre.
I
He's
don't
looking
know
up how
this
old
one.
Look it up.
Joe Smith.
Look it
I
up.
got lost in Joseph Smith.
Look up the Great Molasses Massacre real quick.
I'll look it up. I have a phone.
So it happened in some city on the East Coast. I want to say Pennsylvania or like Maryland or something like that, but I could be completely wrong.
Okay.
And they were.
It was in Boston.
Oh, it's in Boston? Okay. Yeah, some East Coast city. And there's a giant container of molasses. And it kind of exploded. And what's it called? Flooded the streets. And it killed, 27 people or something like that? Or was it hundreds of people? I cannot remember.
Probably the slowest people, right? Like, if you have a tidal wave of molasses coming at you, you just have to be relatively quick. You don't have to just don't fall asleep.
Okay, you're doing a scene now.
It's so slow.
The tanker just exploded with molasses. React, Scott.
Oh, here it comes. Hold on. Oh, no. I have plenty of time. I can go ahead and sit down and maybe listen to a song and then I'll leave. How fast is molasses move?
How many people died?
It's rude.
When-
You know what? I'll take these
Witnesses
people.
reported
This is
that
100 years ago.
Witnesses reported that they felt the ground shake and heard a roar as it collapsed, a long rumble similar to the passing of an elevated train. Others reported hearing a tremendous crashing, a deep growling.
No.
Quote,
Here comes the molasses.
A thunderclap like
everybody.
bang, and a sound like a machine
Shut.
gun as the rivets shot out of the tank. No, I like Scott's bit. Molasses, waist deep, covered the street and swirled and bubbled about the wreckage. Here and there struggled to form. Whether it was animal or human being was impossible to tell.
Now I have been caught up into my waist in molasses.
I say.
I cannot move a single. Oh, this is Boston. Never mind. That's the wrong accent.
I like that Foghorn Leghorn got caught in the molasses.
I'm a Southern gentleman here on Boston as a tourist, and I got caught in this molasses.
I cannot move a digit. I do declare.
You Northerners and your exploding molasses carts.
You see that form there? That is either my wife or my dog, but it is impossible to tell.
I'm your wife. I'm still alive. I'm not even covered in molasses. What are you talking about?
Hark, a cry appears.
If I die, go ahead and bury her with me, even if she is alive.
I'm fine.
If she is gone from the molasses, I will be driven into a life of gay faggotry and have to suck every dick in the greater Boston area. R.I.P. my wife of mine.
I'm sitting next to you.
It's a shame, but these lips will be wet with penis by the morn.
Why are you already sucking somebody's dick?
Our family has been torn apart by this tragedy.
If it weren't for molasses, I would not have.
Blame this on the great molasses flood.
Let this be the day that it was written
Sir, come here.
The flood
Take
of
your pants off.
molasses.
There's been a molasses flood. Sir, get over here right now. There's been a flood.
Some nurses from the Red Cross dove into the molasses. That's what it says.
Wee.
Well,
Sports.
while others tended to
this is where I cut in all those slurping noises you were making at the beginning.
Oh, yeah. Everything's a callback in the end. And the injured were so numerous that doctors and surgeons set up a makeshift hospital in a nearby building. Everyone was rolling in sugar daddies. Rescuers found it difficult to make their way through the syrup to help the victims, and 4 days elapsed before they stopped searching. Many of the dead were so glazed over in molasses that they were hard to recognize. Cleanup crews used salt water from a fireboat to wash away the molasses and sand to absorb it, and the harbor was brown with molasses until summer.
It wasn't
This
molasses.
is a good story.
That's Boston?
Yeah. How many people died? Did it say?
Everything that a Bostonian touched was sticky. That's what it said in the paper.
I think that's still true.
Yeah, that's true.
Is that still
That's the motto for the Celtics.
why they're so sticky?
Um,
I'll find out.
21 deaths.
21. Okay, cool. I knew it was 20 something.
Yeah, it's not that many dead, but it was. I didn't expect. There were like 150 people were injured. The wounded included people, horses, and dogs. Coughing fits became one of the most common ailments after the initial blast. That's some pussy ass post-mortem.
Coughing fits?
Coughing fits. Terrible.
I got the molasses cough.
I got that molasses cough.
Pop, I have the molasses lung.
I have lassie lung.
It's like a regular cough, but it's way slower. It's like
With every cough, I taste something so sweet in the back of my throat.
Honey, that's still a dick.
Oh, sorry. Man, the Boston Police, the Red Cross, the Army, and the Navy had to come out.
for
Yeah,
this
dude. It
molasses.
was like so much fucking molasses.
How did you know about this?
I mean, I lived in Boston for 4 years. That's probably
They
where I
talk
learned
about it. They still-
I'm assuming that's how I learned about it. Yeah. Yeah.
You
It's
tried
like a
to-
big fucking deal.
You tried to buy molasses at the store one day, and they were like,
Like,
"Lauren,
no,
Lauren,
nobody owns molasses.
do you know
here.
nothing about Boston?"
I can't get this.
Is
jelly
it time
out
to
of-
talk about my carpenter problem?
Yeah. What else? What else is on the docket?
I have
Since you
my
lost your
carpenter
court
problem.
case so horribly.
Yes. What's your carpenter problem?
I like Sabrina Carpenter, but my girlfriend doesn't like her music at all. So we can't.
Oh my god.
Well, that was a trap.
Woo! Tell me more.
So we can't listen.
Hot topics coming from Scout.
How does this manifest? You drive everywhere listening to your tampon,
I was like,
your tampon
I was
music.
a little lit the other day, and I was like enjoying dancing around to some pop music.
Little Liddy.
And I was gonna be like, "Hey, let's dance around to pop music," and she was like, "I hate this. I'm not into this person."
Are you banging a drum over there? What's happening?
Sorry, I'm trying to get the
Okay,
last
so
bow out.
you told your girlfriend that you casually want to listen to pop music and dance around like a little girl.
I
Continue.
did suggest. I was like, "We could like do dancing around, go out dancing or something."
Mhm.
And I think we have very different music tastes because
I just don't understand how you became so crystallized in your Lifetime television for women
what?
taste in
Wait.
music.
Why?
I just you're
Sabrina
so.
Carpenter's pretty good.
Thank you. Now you're the odd one.
Now I lost. Yeah, but you're like okay. Well, we can jam out Kelly Clarkson, Avril Lavigne,
Yeah,
Sabrina Carpenter,
that's that.
and then you're like, that's a playlist. Yeah, and so your girlfriend was like, but I would like to be in a relationship with a man. And then
She was
you
like,
didn't
"Listen
know
to
what
Bruce
to do.
Springsteen, please."
Yeah, so then you didn't know what to do.
What did she want to listen to?
Good question. Good follow up.
Usually 80s music or 90s music.
Okay, like
just
what?
classic
So that's
pop.
those are
That's
those. So
broad.
that's 20 years. What like specific?
That's almost
genres?
all music.
That's pretty much it.
So
I think
what,
we're
like
both-
genre or like
Yeah,
what
what-
is she like?
give us an example.
Like
You're close. You this
80s, like, just like new wave stuff or Madonna stuff. You would love it.
Oh,
You would
I
be
love
into it.
Madonna.
See?
You like
Yeah.
I knew I'd
Madonna?
let her-
Did I not tell you?
Come on.
Isn't Madonna doing stand-up
I'm
comedy
waiting.
I'm waiting.
now? Is she doing? I think she's doing stand-up comedy now.
What, Madonna?
I believe so.
Sign me the fuck up.
I
That's
think
going to be the
that's-
worst stand-up
I
comedy
think
I've ever
that's
heard.
It's gonna be
happening.
awkward.
Is it
somewhere.
really happening for sure?
What I would like for her to do is crowd work
That's
because
what
it
I
would be
heard.
deranged.
deranged?
It would be insane.
And
She-
then
someone
one
would
of
be-
her lips
someone
would
would sh-
pop, and people would be like, "That is the funniest thing that's happened all night."
That's so sad and gross. Someone would share something personal with her, and she'd be like, "I don't care." I would be really into it. Someone would tell her a problem or a life issue, and she would be like, "Anyway," and just change the subject.
maybe it was not a continuing thing,
Okay, wait,
but
hold
it was
on.
a one-time thing. It looked like Amy Schumer brought Madonna up.
The
A lot of these people
the
just-
article title says Madonna delivers surprise stand-up set at comedy club. Comedian
I've heard of this.
Amy
yeah.
Schumer reportedly brought the quote unquote material girl, Jesus Christ, to the New York City club. A photo shared by The Sun appears to show Madonna on the stage in front of the establishment's iconic brick wall. Per the outlet, a source said the artist's set was 20 minutes long and that she didn't do as well as you'd think she
What?
would. Who thought she would do well?
So she did really, really badly.
She got laughs every time she dropped F-bomb because just hearing Madonna curse is funny. The source also
It's not good when you get laughs from the audience laughing because it's not going well.
I like to imagine that this interview happened over a urinal while somebody was peeing. They're like, it was funny when she said fuck a lot.
Hey, anybody ever been backstage on a giant worldwide tour? No? Oh, okay. Well, let me just tell you.
Has anybody ever done coke off of Dennis Rodman's dick? No, okay. I guess that's not
Remember when
either.
remember when you all were dating Sean Penn? No, just me. That was just
and made a music video with a black Jesus. Nobody else.
No. Oh. Okay.
For Pepsi money?
Yeah.
No.
Oh.
My life is relatable.
Come on. Does anybody else have ripped arms? No? All right. She also nailed a joke about how with all of these Trump deportations, she's not going to have any staff left.
That is the worst thing I've ever heard.
She should have made a
That is I really like how you read that and it shocked you into hysterical laughter, Lauren. Like that you didn't know what you were reading until it was over and your brain processed it as really
That's
heinous.
terrible.
Yeah, that's real bad.
She should have made a joke where,
So
like, with these deportations, she's worried that she's going to get deported to England since she, like,
Has
took
a
on
British
that whole
accent.
British affect.
Nope. She was
Apparently this
Self-deprecating.
nope.
it got some laughs, but really everyone was just so shocked she was there. Oh my god, that's one of the best things I've heard in a long fucking time.
She did a stand-up set on Jimmy Fallon and it was extremely tense because it was like she had a therapist with her and it was Jimmy Fallon, you know, like trying to help her, like it's kind of be like, you're doing stand-up and she's like, shut up. She's just so aggro. She's such a weirdly like self-involved person that for her to do stand-up, she can't properly interact with an audience. It's the same reason she can't act, because she's not really interested in connecting with another living being. So she's just she's just gonna be like, I'm doing a joke, and then when people are like, you are, she's like, you dumbass.
Now is when you laugh.
I just imagine her
Mess.
like this is the same thing as if she went through like a drive-through at Jack in the Box or something, and she just sits there in front of the machine being like, well, you know what I want, and then drives to the other window.
She gets annoyed by having to decide
Yeah.
on things from a menu.
They're like, how can I help you, ma'am? And she's like, I don't fucking know.
We've all done stand-up. We've done 5-minute sets. And when you're up there, it can feel like a long time if it's not going well. I can't imagine how long 20 minutes when it's going poorly is gonna, I guess.
She probably doesn't give
care.
a shit.
She doesn't care.
She's used to stage presence. She's like, I live up here.
Yeah.
Well, I do think like a certain separation from reality is probably helpful when you are performing in front of a stadium of people. It's probably helps to be sort of like, just have that same exact attitude of like, you idiots, like, because you're otherwise you're like, oh my god, I'm in front of Madison Square Garden, but instead she's just like, you dumb bitch, dance. And everyone's like, yes, top me. I mean, it makes sense for a rock star.
I mean, she's driving through a Jack in the Box thing, and they're like, "What do you want, man?" She's like, "I don't know. You're poor. What do you eat?"
Come on, the whole menu. I'm waiting. Yeah, Madonna.
She drives to the next window and says, "I have brown kids."
That is true. She's about as good at diversity and inclusion as everybody in all of our stories this podcast.
We all look at Scott.
She fits right. What?
Scott.
Guys,
You know,
You
Scott.
know what we're talking about.
doesn't work on me anymore. It's 2025. Diversity, equity, and inclusion don't exist anymore. So sorry.
No.
We're in a new
Oops.
world, not the old one.
Yeah, we flushed that.
Yeah, those are gone now.
We're not going to talk about politics this episode. We're
I
like
think this is
trying
the-
to
no,
tell a
this is the-
joke
this
and
is
it's
the
just
This is
grim.
the closest we're getting to politics. That's fine.
It's just sad.
Just peppering the sad things in.
It's actually just a huge fucking bummer. Was that everything on your list for topics?
You said you
The-
had 6 things. That was only like 3.
The Oscars are coming up.
Oh God, skip.
Jesus
Pass.
There's
Christ.
a bunch of movies.
Pass.
Did you see
Yeah,
Nope.
which one? Which
Substance?
one?
Nope.
Did you see the
nope,
Substance? Sorry.
Nope.
I didn't see Substance.
We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Not today, Satan.
I'll talk about movies with you.
All right. We'll have our own separate.
Yep. Yep.
Come on.
I really liked Madonna's voice so much as a kid.
Me
and this
too.
is my last thing I'm going to say about Madonna because I know
This is not the last
Scott
thing we're going to say about
dissociates
Madonna.
whenever we do
I
1
love
hour
it.
segments on
No,
Madonna.
I just
no,
don't
you
know enough.
you caused this one. No, but I really like the I was reflecting on this yesterday actually. I was in the shower and singing, and I was just remembering that like deep Italian voice she does,
Mm.
where like in the bridge of Get Into the Groove, she has that voice she puts on where she's like, live out your fantasies here with me.
Just let the music set you free.
Right? You know what I mean?
Touch
It's
my
weird.
body.
Yeah.
Move in time.
Now I know you're mine.
Yeah.
Like she does that weird like, and she does such weird little voices, and I still think like I don't really know how anyone sang like she sang on Get Into the Groove. It's so sugary.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have no idea. It's so
They used to call her like
blissfully
Minnie.
sugary.
They used to call her like Minnie Mouse. Like they
Yeah.
thought that she like sounded like a little kid, like a squeaky voice.
that song. I think her vocal tone is crazy amazing. Like I think Get Into the Groove is a great song in general, but her vocal tone on it is wicked. But I just think it's cool that she had tones like that, but she was also kind of convincing as a torch singer. That's what I think is like kind of balanced about her. She would do solemn songs and they would also be enjoyable.
Yeah, like Live to Tell.
Yeah. She had a good platter.
Yeah.
What was the one for the baseball movie?
Oh,
Yeah, that's a sad one, too.
Used to be our
this-
playground.
This used to be our playground.
She would do that
used
same
to
yeah.
be
Like
Yeah.
that's what I know.
This
I know her
used to
mostly as
be
the
my
movies.
childhood
Her connection to
dream.
movie things.
What's really like what I like, it feels her voice feels very comforting, and also she's had the same backup singers since the beginning
That's
of her
true.
career, and
What?
so it's also she's had the same exact backup singers, and so that's also very comforting that it never changes. The thing that was the least comforting thing about Madonna is when she changed drastically. Like the music album was close to the like disastrous part, like when my brain just exploded and I couldn't handle Madonna anymore. But like Confessions on a Dance Floor, I was like, okay, this is over. Her career's over. She's done.
Oh, I didn't know you held on for so long.
I didn't like the music album. I think Frozen was when Frozen was the tipping point where I was like,
That's where I remember.
She's starting to go off
people,
the deep end.
Yeah, being mad about it.
Ray
Yeah.
of Light was just a weird song. Like
Yeah,
I
Ray-
just felt like it was released in such a way that you got an iPod with it. It just I was like, is this a song about Windows 95? It's
It really
it's just a really
was.
weird song.
Ray of Light was right in that same era where like that Cher, Do You Believe in Love, and like everybody was
yeah. It's
everybody
like
was bringing
Savage
back, like a
Garden.
weird like
It's like Savage
Don't
Garden.
you
was,
dare!
there was
Don't you dare!
Well, there
Don't
was
you
all
dare.
this
Savage
like,
Garden was so much better.
No, but it's
No,
all
yeah.
this like adult
chicka, style, cool,
contemporary.
yeah.
It's like adult contemporary, optimistic, like Windows 95 music. Like it's like really makes you feel like you're shopping at CompUSA.
Yeah.
It was just so weird.
Yeah. Like at some point they figured out how to take the spaces out between people's words, and then it got just faster.
Is Shakira the new Madonna?
What?
What?
I don't think that makes sense.
That doesn't
it's
make
very
any sense.
sexist.
What?
Yeah.
Why? Why is that?
Because you're
sexist?
just shoving two women together as if they're interchangeable because they have coochies.
They're both.
You're gonna have to cut it out because it's.
I mean, that's-
it's misogyny,
that's
and
what
I
my
know you're
porn's
not here
about,
for
but-
that.
No, they have similarities, right?
Scott will get
Shakira
very
and Madonna have zero similarities.
'Cause they're
in my
blonde?
mind.
Zero.
because they're blonde.
They're-
Now you guys are being the
They're
silly
both
ones.
fake blonde.
They're both
We're joking with you, but we're dead serious at the same time, so it's very confusing.
It is very confusing.
It's very confusing.
I don't know what to do with this energy.
Okay. Compare Madonna to Lady Gaga. Okay, try again.
Compare Madonna to Lady Gaga.
Yes, try again.
Madonna's like the new Lady Gaga.
Other way around, but sure, yes.
Madonna's like
Did you just say Madonna's the new Lady Gaga? That's really funny.
Do you think is the 80s obsession with Madonna, do you think this is a thing that like people with Taylor Swift is this echoing the same sort of vibe, or is it a different thing?
I feel like Taylor Swift has gone beyond to more of like the Beatles status. Like that, it's gone to that level of like Beatles obsession, that period of time.
Okay.
Like that's what I feel like. It's gotten cult. Like I don't because I wasn't around. I wasn't as, I was around, but I wasn't like as cognizant of like the hysteria and the excitement around Madonna at the time. I don't think that she was ever like, it was ever that big of a cult following. I think she was just kind of everywhere, like the way like Lady Gaga was everywhere for a while, or the way that I don't know, like Miley Cyrus was people weren't obsessed with her.
But like Taylor
think
Swift
there were
is
some
up
people
there
who
with
were.
like Beyonce, like icon status type.
I think even more than Beyonce. Like it
Whoa.
became a cult it's become a cult following where people of every generation are obsessed with Taylor Swift. Young people like 8-year-olds and older women like 60-something-year-olds obsessed with Taylor Swift. It's crazy.
You know, it's a little bit like Harry Potter in that like some people have come closer to like having a lifestyle and an identity around it.
Yeah, like Disney adults. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It is kind of like Disney adults. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong, everybody in the world. Was Madonna like that? Were people paying like thousands of dollars for a Madonna ticket? I don't know.
No, you're definitely capturing something that simultaneously doesn't matter at all. But like, yes, it is.
Well, and now
I agree with you, but it's kind of a lifestyle and kind of a cult.
The giant stadium show is just like a level that you get to if you're an artist of a certain notability or whatever. You get to this like, we do humongous shows and fill them with.
Well, that's the only way people can make money nowadays on music, because you don't make money on your actual music anymore.
Right.
You make money on your persona and the stuff that you put out that's not the music. The music is just something to get somebody's attention. The actual talent part is just to get someone's attention.
That's the plan.
Wait a minute, are you a Swiftie, Scott?
I like Taylor Swift. I'm not like
you're not
crazy about it. What?
You're not a Swiftie.
I am. Sure I am. Why not?
Well,
How much would you pay for a Taylor Swift concert?
None. I don't like. I don't go to concerts.
Okay.
But I
thought you were gonna say.
I watched
like
the
Taylor
one.
Swift.
I watched the one that they did. It's like on streaming. I saw that.
And you watched the whole thing, and you enjoyed the whole thing.
I fast forwarded through some parts.
Okay, so you're not a Swiftie. I would not consider you.
But I watched some parts. I liked it.
That's fine. That's fine. You're allowed to enjoy entertainment.
I don't want to talk about Taylor Swift.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Or movies. What else is on your list?
That was it. We got to it all. I was going to talk about egging cars.
You know what's actually better than egging cars? If you put bologna on their paint,
I've heard
it etches the paint.
It does?
Mm.
That's
bologna?
hateful.
Yeah.
What
It's
else
hateful.
do you do? Okay, so here's what when I was a kid, I heard that you put cinnamon rolls on cars and it like makes them rust through the paint. I don't know if that's true. I've heard you lick Oreos and put them on like the windshield.
No, that does nothing. We're trying for permanent damage here.
You know, if you take your pussy lips out, smash them up on the window.
All right, all right. No, I'm out of topic.
You rub them on the.
You rub them.
I'm out of topic.
You actually pack the vagina with salt and then smash it into the windshield.
and then just scoot across the whole thing.
Yeah, it actually leaves a whole bunch of pussy juice and salt.
Ari.
It doesn't do anything beyond that.
You know what it does?
It's real weird.
It actually really
the Margarita.
It actually really injures your vagina.
Gwyneth Paltrow's Margarita.
That's a Gwyneth Paltrow Margarita.
Ew.
Pack your pussy with salted lime and then smash it into a windshield. This is the best episode ever. And you know what it does? It actually really hurts your vagina.
You wouldn't think so.
You wouldn't expect it, but it's really bad for it. And the ecosystem with the
I will say it's worth it though.
What-
It's worth it's worth the pain.
Every time I've done it, I've been glad later. You gotta stuff it with like, Activia.
Why do
Make
you
sure you
look so dehydrated, Art?
You gotta stuff. Oh well, actually, I packed my pussy with salt and lime. And a little bit of tagine, and then I just smashed my.
You mean tahine?
Tahine.
Tagine. Just a little piece of clay
tagine,
pottery up
'cause
there.
It rhymes with
Shoved it tagine.
It rhymes with vagine.
That's how you get it up there. It's kind of like an upside down funnel.
And then you just dip those Fritos scoopables right in there and get whatever you need.
You
and
say
then,
cheers.
And then, as long as your boyfriend is not home, you smash it into the windshield of the car for revenge. And it actually really burns and ruins your vagina when you do that.
Doesn't do anything to
Odd
the
thing.
car.
Doesn't do any. No, it's the
Car's
car's
fine.
The car's incidental, really. And when you go to prison, it still hurts.
And then you get a certificate from Gwyneth Paltrow.
But you will find a relationship in prison, and people will say, "Is that? Do I smell tahine and lime? Does your pussy smell like nachos?
I know that. Something familiar.
It's like,
Something
it's like a
tropical and Tijuanese.
It would probably smell like a
Tropical.
michelada, actually, because there's some yeast up there, you know?
What? What is a michelada?
Your pussy smells like a michelada.
You don't know
That's
what
the
a
name of this
michelada is?
episode.
I don't know what a michelada
It's
is.
a Bloody Mary with, it's basic. Well,
With
it's not quite.
enchilada.
If I were to describe it in white terms, it's a Bloody Mary with beer
Uh-huh.
instead of vodka.
Oh.
It's actually a Michelob, but you stuff an enchilada in down.
And then you put it up your vagina.
and then
It's
you,
a michelada.
then you use michelada and you stuff it up your vagine. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Well, that's. Can we delete everything before that and just run that? As
Yeah.
An episode?
1 3-minute episode. I should have saved my my unicorn for the grand finale because that would have been better. But
You can paste that bit anywhere.
Yeah.
blew
The
my
best thing
load.
about that bit is no one can see and has no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
I love that you did show
It's
and tell
useless.
again,
I know
and no one can see it. It's a show and tell
I
on a
tried to
podcast.
describe it.
you did great.
Thanks.
That's the
Come
problem
on.
with it.
Come on.
What song does she
That's
do
the
that
noise I
in?
sound when
What's
somebody
that? You
shoves it up
keep.
there.
What's that? What is it? That sounds like
come on,
that's Michael
come on.
Jackson. You're doing Michael Jackson.
No, it's from Into the Groove. Get in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Come on.
Shimon.
Come on.
You're gonna look it up and throw it into the episode because we can get away with anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll do it. Every time you say that, I put it in.
Come on.
Or
No,
just
no,
just here.
no.
Just here.
Just
Were you
here
thinking
for
of the
reference.
Free Willy song? Is that what you were
And then
thinking?
and then people learn. Oh yeah, that song. I think that song is so sweet. I haven't seen Free Willy, but I do think that.
Of course.
Have You Seen My Childhood song? Is
You bring up a
Sweet.
movie and you don't let me talk.
That's my
You're
favorite.
Like, I don't
we're
think-
not talking about that.
Oh
my
my gosh.
favorite record by Michael Jackson definitely is History. I think it's a really great double album. Stranger in Moscow is a jam. I love that song.
Stranger in Moscow.
Mm.
Okay.
A Moscow Stranger is what I told you to get behind Hamilton.
A Moscow Stranger is like a Moscow Mule, but you replace the vodka with
Wh- wh-
beer.
No, you replace the mule with a stranger.
What's Mule in Moscow Mule?
A donkey.
No, the drink, the Moscow.
It's vodka.
That's what I just said. I said it right.
Yeah, but you were not making a good joke. I was trying to help.
What else is new? I'm never making a good joke.
Why don't you introduce yourself to an Asian woman? How would you do it?
Hello, what? I think
You're already starting strong.
Hello.
I love it.
I
Slow.
I
Speak
know.
slower. Speak slower.
hello. I bet I know what country that. Not that you're not from this. I don't know. Hey, I bet I can guess. Never mind. Good morning, life of farts to you.
Top of the life of heart.
Go with the life of heart to you, my lady. That's probably how I would do it.
I think we have to wrap up here. I don't know if I have anything else up my anus. Oh, we were going to talk about politics.
Going well,
yeah,
right?
that's
Everything's
not- let's skip it. I thought about this several times over the last week, like leading up to us recording, because
Yeah.
I for some reason nowadays I think about my teenage clients, and I honestly think about like what would I say to them that would be useful or like
Yeah.
help them have perspective. And it's uh the part that helps me, I guess, when I'm feeling overloaded by the criminality of the current moment is like Congress has been failing for quite a while, and that's such a big issue that has to get addressed. So I try to just think this is accelerating by becoming like a totalitarian, like executive person. It's exacerbating awareness that the Congress has been a failure. I hope.
We've been on a sinking ship for a long time. It's just been in very shallow waters. Where people are just shoving it further out into very deep waters at this point and poking more holes in the ship.
The only other thing that I can say that's positive, because I do think there's sort of only ever been two political parties in this country, is like the center right and the far right. I think it's better if the economy tanks while the far right is in power and they get blamed. That's the only nice thing I can say. That's the only thing I can say is like they've lost a lot of, like, there are all these stupid middle of the road voters that were like, I want to see what they're going to do. And when they polled them after this last month, they did lose like 20-30% of their faith in like working together with them and seeing what they're going to do. So I'm just hoping consequences. I'm just hoping consequences are slowly building. I don't know.
That happened the last time though too, and people have forgotten it.
Oh,
people completely forgot it.
That's the only thing you can count on is amnesia. That's the only thing you can count on.
Well, and you can count on it because it's like people. What's the Mandela effect? You can just tell people something was different, and they were like, oh yeah, it was different.
That's
than
why
what it actually was.
That's why I'm saying, I think Americans are still dancing around in an incredibly rich country, playing with fire.
Yeah.
And we don't have any idea what our politics and insanity and incoherence as a country will devolve into if the fact that we are the big dogs on whom the financial system and of the world rests, if that crumbles, everyone involved will be like, well, this has been fun, but now we actually have to address it, because right now everything is kind of, they're just playing around compared to what it would be like if there was.
You think that there has to be some real crisis, like a civil war kind of situation?
Other countries that I have been to are so poor, and like places that we don't even think of as broke, like Europe, are so economically stagnant relative to the US. And the US came out so well from even its most recent crisis of COVID, came out so strong economically that Americans don't understand their political situation, how good it is.
Right.
And if it breaks for whatever reason, the question of how our mental health, what kind of explanations will we swallow for the real problems? That's when the shit will really hit the fan, and we'll see some like absolute insanity. And it would be better if the system breaks, I think, with anarcho-libertarian dickheads getting blamed.
Yeah,
rather than the liberals.
I mean, it's bringing up an interesting thing that I've talked to my grandma about, because my grandma's 96 and she's like, politics go up and down, right? And the economy goes up and down, and this is just another wave. And she's like, but the Great Depression was a huge thing that burst bubbles.
Yes,
and people remembered it. But the problem is people who went through the Great Depression and who went through World War II are gone, right? There's so many people who have died, and nobody's listening to history anymore because there's been this thing that's been created where history isn't even real. It's fake. So like,
and why is it fake? It's fake because we've been so rich. That's really the truth, is like the prosperity and the arrangement under capitalism has erased so much history and so much of an experience of the idea of history, because it constantly strip mines every social experience. Culture is now the providence of algorithms, which makes art even more ahistorical and contextless. And so I think we're dancing in this like it's like we're flirting with capitalism crashing like the Titanic into an iceberg, and it hasn't crashed yet. And so I think there's a lot of apocalyptic morbid desire Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like the way people love a good apocalyptic movie.
Yeah.
There's a certain morbid like, oh, well, I don't know, as it starts to grind to a halt and it is miserable and we hate it, why not burn it all down? I think there's a lot of that kind of deathly anger urge.
Desire for the purge to actually happen.
Because there's so many people for whom the system is failing. And as we elected this person based on a change election, the Democrats were like, oh, what do you want? We don't have anything. We're not going to promise to fix anything. There's nothing. There's no part of the poly crisis we will genuinely address. And so it benefited people who were saying we're going to fuck everything up, because people who just wanted something to happen were like, oh, I'll elect the car that's on fire to drive through the wall. That sounds nice.
Yeah.
And we're still finding out how that plays out, which, to your grandma's point, it's true. Like, people go through waves of this.
Yeah, I mean, like, there was the whole McCarthy era. That was fucking wild. That was bonkers, right? Like, people were literally being, like, said that they're communists and thrown in jail for not doing... It was witch hunts. Like, this, like, yeah. Like, I somewhat worry in the back of my brain. I'm not going to stop doing podcasts and speaking out this kind of way. But part of the back of my brain is like, we've been recorded bashing Elon Musk in a podcast. He is the most powerful, rich person in the entire country and could literally get us killed and thrown into jail right now if he wanted to, because we said something against him on a podcast. And that's terrifying.
Do you really think that way? You're saying like part of your brain thinks that way, or like
I think that's a genuine possibility.
Oh, you're saying with your objective mind,
Yes.
you think it's actually kind of worrisome.
Yes.
He wouldn't get me. I could
no,
hide.
You're clear.
I could hide away.
Ninja or what?
Yeah, I could hide. I'd be able to blend in. Fake mustache, wig, sunglasses.
You can just say white guy.
Nah, Elon can't catch me.
You can just say white guy.
I would slide into a crowd of people on like a subway, and then
It's me, I'm Audio.
He would be looking at me from the other subway platform, and then a train would go past, and then I'm like, when it goes past, and I'm gone. There's no way.
What was that marshmallowy blur that just?
Has anyone seen a pasty man? He was standing here 4 seconds ago.
Well,
no, the other pasty man.
Remember, we get good sex if he puts us away in prison.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. Orange is the new black.
This is why we started off talking about what we would do in prison, because we're worried
that's white.
that in the new
Did I just
era,
say
it
that's
might be
white
possible.
on accident? That's white. Yeah, I guess like I don't think the game of hot potato is over yet. I think there's still a lot of like,
oh, for sure. No.
like I dare you to whatever, and I think the shit has not hit the fan yet. As like,
do you think it will ever hit the fan, or do you think we're just going to slowly? It's going to be a slow. It's going to continue to be a slow decline into.
I think
don't
a
know,
slow
like-
hollowing out of institutions until we become like China. Things kind of collapse, and then you go, "What happened?" And all the people who are at fault are gone, and then once you get the people, once you give the people who kind of do the hollowing out. Once they're out of there, I think that the new people are able to say, hey, now we can identify that all those old people were bad and let's rebuild this thing. But you can't do it while the old people are still around, because it's hard for a young person to be like, this place has been being like mismanaged for 20 years. And the person who has managed it for 20 years is sitting right next to you going like, hey, quiet down. You're the junior senator or whatever.
Right.
Like a lot of problems stem back to me of too many people in their 70s and 80s being in control of like everything in this country. You're like, why?
Well, they represent an order that was literally economically and set in motion under FDR.
Right.
They're presiding over how well it went, and there's the weight of all of that upon it.
But they also were like, yeah, I can't possibly, the torch was passed to me and I did such a good job that I can't possibly pass the torch. I need to hold on to it until I actually like die with it in my hands. And you're just like, stop. No, part of being
that's how I live my life.
Part of being good is also passing the torch when it's appropriate and not having to have someone pry it out of your fingers.
That's what literally everybody I know is doing, is taking care of their boomer parent and like hoping to get a house when they're dead. The
Yep.
the it's very prevalent. No, I can't remember what the wealth gap was between boomers and like it was some stat that was like it's so far beyond what it used to be, and how wealthy they were at the age of like 30 or 40, like relatively, and it
Yeah.
was just like over a dozen times.
Well, just the idea of wealth is so different. The idea of wealth nowadays is so different than when the boomers were growing up. Because like when boomers were growing up, to have a television in your house, like I saw this statistic that was essentially like a television. The price of a television was about 1/20th the price of a mortgage, like a mortgage down payment. The down payment for a house was about 20 times as much as it was to buy a television. And nowadays, buying a television is 1/600 and something of a mortgage, right? So like when a boomer says, "Oh, well, you shouldn't be buying big TVs." It's like, "Okay, well, but
I've heard of this as like the treats economy too. It's like
right.
we can afford all of our treats, but we can't afford the big stability items like education, medicine, and housing.
Right.
That
And
stuff is all inflating prices at insane.
right.
Like,
A television is the same price. To buy a brand new television is the same price as to buy a television back in the 1950s. It was $500, approximately $500, the average television in the 1950s. And that was about a 20th of the price of a mortgage. It's still about $500 to buy a television now. And it's crazy. And I just had somebody come in and tell me how much it would cost for me to get solar. And she's like, the quote was literally $45,000. It was crazy. I'm not going to do it. That's bonkers, right? But it was $45,000 to get solar put in my house, and I was like, "Why is it so much more expensive than it was like 3 years ago when I got it quoted?" And she's like, "Well, what's happening is the price of power is going up, so all these power companies who are doing solar are raising the prices because they can, and so things that are needed." Not treats, things that are needed keep just going up. Housing, power, all this shit. Things that will placate us and keep us in this delusional state of pleasant and satiated and tranquilized, basically, are cheap as fuck.
Like internet.
Like internet.
The public, I mean, and the public is flailing around for a political party that has an answer in which lives neither of the current parties. I mean, they don't have a plan for addressing.
no.
I do think it's an interesting topic from some of my memories. You know, not long before my father died, we were walking somewhere, and he actually commented on Donald Trump because he tended to watch The Apprentice, and this is like before he ever even ran for president. And he was like, it's better when somebody that rich becomes like the president of something or like the leader of something, because they already made all the money that they want to make. So now they're feeling like at peace inside, and they're ready to like do something good. And I actually literally just looked like Whoopi Goldberg style. I just looked at my dad like he was crazy, and I didn't say anything. And he actually said, "You think I'm crazy saying that?" And I just kind of like wiggled my eyebrows.
That's so funny.
And it's an enduring quality for sure, like to just be like step on my neck daddy about all of this. Before he became really political, a conversation I had with a friend years ago was about whether or not Elon Musk was admirable. Like one of the like political conversations that he and I had was about that. And it was just, he was like, this person's cool. But I think having the experience of,
Does he not know how he became powerful?
a lot of people think he's Tony Stark, and I don't want to
Yeah.
single out my friend. The last like big company I worked at, my boss used to walk around wearing a black turtleneck because he admired Steve Jobs so much. And my reaction is always, really, I'm like, these people did not create the microchip. They didn't invent the computer. They didn't discover electricity. Like there's not and even if they did, to be the person, like to be the mom of somebody who invents the microchip is just as important. Like, we're all just sort of in this together. Like, there's no need to worship somebody for
Yeah.
creating an iPod. Like, this is our wealth. Like, and every single day people are like pulling resources out of the ground to make all these computers and stuff. Like, it's that stuff is yours, like, as a citizen of the earth. Like, it's your collective wealth. But people are like, no, you got to be, there's masters and there's slaves and there's little, people just have this attitude of like, there's hotties and there's little bitches. And it's striking how much it affects these popularity contests
Yeah.
you're talking about.
The reverence that is given to people like this is, well, completely unwarranted. I mean, because
I agree.
it's well known he didn't invent shit. He literally had a ton of money and bought his way into everything.
Well, and can I say, even if he did invent something, sorry, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like Whitney Houston. People were just like, she's so thin and she hits that note. It's like, honey, it's just a person who's a little optimized,
right?
Who's on their grind. It's really not that big of a deal.
Right.
Like, Jesus H fucking Christ.
For example, this podcast is going to exist no matter what. If somebody decides that this is the most amazing thing and we go viral and like get blown up, we're still going to be the same fucking people.
Lauren's masturbating right now, by the way.
am.
She couldn't stop herself.
So bad. Ugh.
I can't wait to be the same person.
Hire me, Smosh.
Yeah, it's not, and that's another thing. It's like not a good time to go through all. I don't know how people stomach all the like unnecessary, pointless stress of attention. I think that's also a lousy asset that is now baked into the leadership system. Is you have to have the world's thickest skin to be a part of any of these experiences. It's really unhealthy.
Yeah, I mean, like, I've had, like, now that I'm a manager for people or like managing like stuff, it's so fascinating to get told, oh yeah, they perceived you in this horrible way. And I'm like, I was literally just trying to be nice. Like, what are you talking about?
No, it's hard. It's hard to be a public commodity. You're the repository of a lot of projections.
Yeah.
And if you're like anything like me, it makes your stomach flip.
Yeah.
It makes me nauseous.
When you're in middle management, when you're in the middle of it, you have to appease everybody above you and you have to appease everybody below you. So it's really fucking difficult because the people above you can go to the people below you at any moment and be like, how are you perceiving this person? And then they create this confirmation bias within them too. And then you're this I don't know. Sorry.
It's sad how politically dysfunctional we are as a species, but we really are. We gossip and we snipe and we undermine and we're really tense about it. And it's sad how shitty it is. I mean,
I do it. I catch myself doing it every once in a while where I gossip, like in a bad way. I mean, most of my gossip is super innocuous, but I do gossip sometimes in a bad way and sometimes in a malicious way. I do. I do. For people, only to and about people I hate.
Lauren says you're too white, Scott. She tells me that all the time.
I told you that in front of your face.
You can't do anything about it. Promise.
Scott's over here doing what's his name, Martin Luther King speeches.
Trying.
I want to be judged by the content of my character and not the color of my
actually,
skin.
don't judge me by the content of my character. Wait, we got to find another metric because that's not gonna do well for me either.
Judge me by the fluffiness of my leg hair.
Hey, that's a great way to end this podcast.
How do you want
to be perceived?
How
do you want to be judged?
Okay, how do you want to be perceived?
If you were, let's say you were at the gates of heaven, if it ever existed, and you wanted to be judged by the best thing about you.
Cue up the Miss America answers.
What would you want to be judged for? And let's say you also wanted to get into hell. What would be the worst thing you would want them? Like, what would be your case to get into hell? What would be your
case to get into hell? Wait a minute.
And your case to get into heaven?
Well, I feel like heaven, I got to be judged by probably I'm going to be drawing. I can draw pictures. Okay. So I'm going to be judged by my drawing ability because that's not very, I don't have any like skeletons in my closet there, I think.
Nice.
And then now what is the criteria for hell?
No MAGA porn? That you didn't draw any MAGA porn?
That's an idea. I got to write this down. But What's the criteria? I'm trying to think of the worst thing I did to get into hell, or to keep me out of hell.
No, to get
This
into
is
hell. Like
rough.
you want to get into hell.
Why do I want to get in?
This is a
Yeah, why
hypothetical
do you-
situation.
Hey Satan, let me in.
Why do you want to get into hell?
No,
don't
you're
know.
not. You're not getting in here today. Oh, come on, Satan, let me get.
Well, because you know what, being a good person isn't necessarily the best thing in the world, right?
I don't. Where did we turn?
This is my question.
I
He
gotta
got,
think.
he got 6 topics. I want 1 topic.
I gotta think of what I would do to get into
You
hell.
have to start over.
Okay.
What are you
question
going to
is-
be judged by?
No,
The question is, what is your case to get into heaven and your case to get into hell? 2 separate
But
situations.
why am I making a case to get into hell? To party, or
'Cause
what are we
it's cool.
talking?
Whatever. I don't know.
It's cool, bro.
This is your case. What's the worst shit?
But hell's bad.
Or you're not
No,
doing a
to
good
you,
job
hell
of getting
is-
into
to
hell.
you, hell is a good thing. Hell is still hell. It's still a shit place, but you want to get in there. What would you say to get in there?
I see what you're saying.
I wore leather
Yikes.
jackets.
I take this way too seriously
I know.
because of my job.
You've
It
asked
freaks me out.
Way too many questions.
It freaks me out.
Yeah.
No, I can't answer this. I'll get too earnest.
Okay.
I'll get way too earnest.
All right. Well, then
I
let's.
Well,
really
for-
do,
to get
I
into
really
hell-
do sweat this.
To get
all
into
the
hell, you have to
time.
list all your AI, like all the times you've used AI instead of just using your own brain. That would do
I
it.
can't talk about this and be funny. I take it way too seriously.
Okay, then
I
just the heaven
constantly
one.
argue with myself about whether or not I've been a decent person or not.
Oh.
I do. I really and for no good reason. I haven't done anything mean, and I'm just checking all the time. I really think. I really pray that my relationships will be there in the morning. That really is like the way I live my
Aw.
life. I do. I'm scared of that quite often.
Well, I'm horrifically loyal, so you can't get rid of me.
I think I place a huge value on kind, loyal people who are earnest and straightforward. I want a lot of as much trust in my life as I can get in the piggy bank. And it's definitely part of it is I admire kindness, like as a quality.
Mhm.
And probably part of it is I'm like, how the fuck am I going to survive the winter without kind and thoughtful people?
Yeah.
Like like when I meet somebody who's like tap dancing, like say through the entertainment industry, tap dancing on a bunch of acquaintances, that makes me squeamish.
Mm-hmm.
Like my thought is like I'm about to be alone in the world when I picture that kind of a life of like acquaintances.
Because everything could just collapse.
I really think
Yeah.
I feel like it's so, and this is a bummer note to end on. I do think the way that life works, where someone can just take a job and move away, you really got to be ready to like rearrange your life
Yeah.
completely. Like if someone just breaks up with you, not for any big reason, they just break up with you. It's like, honey, you better reforge. You better like throw the metal back in the fire.
Yeah.
And remold it into a totally new shape. You got to be ready. And when I was younger, I was not ready for that.
I mean,
Not ready at all.
I completely understand what you're saying. I completely agree. It's really difficult. 2 of my best friends decided they didn't want to live here anymore and wanted to go be nomads. And I'm like, I felt very alone.
I feel like someone should have to run it by a judge
Yeah.
at our court.
Did
But
they go
don't.
live off to be nomads in the same place?
No.
Oh, because that would feel worse.
That's
very,
even
very different
we're-
types. Very different
We're
types
going to go off and live and be nomads.
without you.
Come on.
Yeah.
You stay here. Actually, you just stay here. We're
Yeah.
gonna go.
That would have been disaster. That would have been malicious. No, I mean, to your point, Ari, it wasn't a malicious thing. Nobody did it on purpose. Nobody did it to
Right.
hurt me, but it did hurt, right? You know,
Yeah.
like, and it feels like, and it's so out of your own control that, like, I do really I think I do, like, subconsciously, maybe even more consciously that I'm more aware of it now, but like subconsciously would look for people who were very loyal people who probably won't move away.
Well, no, I think it's complete. Well, as far as like literally being the case, I mean, when I was younger, I used to have long distance relationships, and I would try them, and I absolutely have. I'm like, you are not where my bread is buttered. Like, bye.
Yeah.
Like, if somebody wanted to build or nurture a long distance relationship with me, I would be like, we both need to make other plans, honey.
Yeah. It's very difficult for me to stay in contact with my friends who've moved away. Even though I fucking love them.
Yeah.
and I do want to talk to them. And when I'm in their city, I want to hang out. But it's so difficult for me to stay into contact with anybody who's not here
Mhm.
that it's I agree. It's
I've just
scary.
stopped. It's like I have a few friends that I ping and talk to long distance for sure, and love them. And one of them I've known since I was 2 years old. But it's not how I live my week. It's not how I conceptualize my mental health.
Yeah.
Like I stay in touch because I love them, but it's not how I conceptualize like the core of my survival.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I feel
This
like
is
I have a
fun.
hard enough
This is
time keeping
fun.
up with my friends who are here, that I want to hang out.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Like I put it
Yes.
on my list. I'm like, find time to hang out with these people sometime, like, because otherwise it's just been too long and I feel weird.
What would you get judged on to get into heaven?
Well, I guess I'd be judged on taking care of Paquita because he's the cutest little cat in the whole wide world. And they'd be like,
Yes.
done, sold, stamped.
Yeah.
They'd be like, he's with Paquita, VI pussy.
Yeah.
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 All
I
right, Lauren,
agree.
what are you getting judged on?
Oof. What am I getting judged on?
You have cute pets too.
I do. You know what I'm getting judged on?
What?
I raised my sister. Yep.
That's good.
Yeah, I raised
You
my
are a
fucking
good sister. You'll get into heaven.
I
for
love
sure.
my sister so much. I hope she's listening. She's awesome. She's a great human being, and I take partial credit for her being such a dope ass human now.
And you're gonna be a great aunt.
Okay, I changed my mind. I knew what I want to get judged on then.
Okay.
It would be my dumb jokes on Twitter because it's a
I like how you changed from drawing to dumb jokes on Twitter.
Right.
Continue.
because it's a
Same.
good indicator of like, you need to, if you're into this, then let me in, because there's definitely just more of this happening. And if you're not into this, we should know now, because that's what's gonna that will be happening in there.
Oh, you want just like a functional review?
It's a good
litmus.
litmus.
Go ahead and take a
test.
look.
Yeah.
Oh,
To be like-
your receipts are good. You've got good receipts.
I
Is
see
what
what
you're
you're saying.
saying.
If
Yeah.
I get it, because I'll be like, well, I don't know that my jokes are good on Twitter. I'm just saying, like, they're
It's a good
accurate.
right.
they're
I got
they're an
what you're
accurate
saying. I got
representation.
what
So
you're
what you're
saying.
saying is you're such a good person that you're having trouble like narrowing down one thing.
Oh,
No.
of course.
Yeah.
I took what you're saying as like someone should look at, for example, like they should review your cooking to let you in or not, Lauren.
Oh.
Because it's
To
like
know what-
it's like how do you show up in a like Aristotelian kind of way of like what's your like how do your practices of life show up? Are they good? Like what's the muster? And it's like
Is heaven a cult compound? Are we trying to show how useful we would be on this?
it's like do you get
What
an
is
half
the
a
most
island?
valuable thing
What?
you contribute to the community? And
you
for
get
me,
half a
it's-
Michelin star for this.
For me, it's dumb jokes.
All right. Yeah.
I'm down for this.
Yeah,
I
cooking. Yeah, for sure. My cooking would be top tier. Or
right.
I could create propaganda for anybody.
I'll
Well,
say it.
No joke. I would be the
You heard it here.
I would be the best at
open,
creating propaganda.
Available for
Maybe
clients.
cut that out.
Hire me. Don't cut this out.
Propagandist extraordinaire.
Usually people just say I'm an illustrator, but okay, go off.
I'm not an illustrator.
I'm a propagandist.
I'm a graphic designer and I'm really good at manipulating
I'm an
people.
idea planter.
I could-
change the course.
Listen,
of
my
history.
girlfriend and I have
Oh, we
said
gotta
that
go.
yeah, we got to stop. My
You're a
girlfriend
product manager.
my girlfriend and I have talked about how we would make great cult leaders because I would be the cult leader like outwardly. I would talk a lot and like be the one creating like getting people to follow, and she'd be the one being like, yes, this one. She'd be like the
She's your
hype
hype.
man.
She's your hype.
She would be my hype man and I'd be like, everybody follow me.
You would say something, and she's in the background going, What?
Yep.
You're so genuine and grounded, you would make a terrible cult leader. Like you don't have any of the mystique of like if someone
That's what would make me the best cult leader, because everyone would believe that I genuinely thought that.
people would be like, do you have any secrets up your sleeve or gospel? And you'd be like, nope.
Nope.
Yeah, right. Okay, I rest my case. I'm glad it's a compliment. By the way, you don't look
Full
happy
agreement. Yep,
to
full
hear that you're
agreement.
not a cult leader, but it's a
Listen,
compliment.
it's your opinion. I get it.
You just haven't seen the type of cult that she would be leading. It's a different new cult.
Oh.
You
It's
don't
like
even know you're in the cult right now, and you don't even know it, which is beautiful.
It's new cult with the U with the umlaut, like new metal. but
NEUE.
that's how you can get away with it. Then it sounds cool almost.
Like I said, you were already in the cult and you don't even know it yet.
You know, I think
The cold has good
sounding
food.
good.
I'll stay. The cold has
That's what I'm.
good
Dude,
food and mixed drinks.
She
I'm
did it.
ready.
She
good
got
food,
us.
Good food, good
And we
art,
live on the
good
water.
mixed drinks. We'd live on the water.
All right. Well,
I would have. There would be lots of animals.
Dibs on the guest room.
There.
Moving in.
The attic's getting cleaned this week. You can live in the attic.
You're gonna
Perfect.
regret all of this very soon when you have two hairy men
I have a murder shed out back. You can live in the murder shed. That's where the skin buckets are.
hooking
We
up
can
on
talk about
Grindr
this
in
later.
the murder shed. I
Ugh.
used to joke about the little house in the backyard being we called it the fuck hut. And we just had a joke about like just take it out to the fuck hut.
Yeah.
Whatever your rendezvous.
I love that. Mine's a murder shed. It's not a fuck hut.
See you in the murder shed / fuck hut.
I have a catio.
We have joked about
You
having
have a
sex.
catio.
I have a catio.
That's
all.
wholesome.
No one's getting
That
murdered or
is-
fucked
that's so
in the
wholesome.
catio.
You're definitely getting to heaven. We are not.
Oh,
Judge me by my catio.
that
Actually,
part was our case for getting into hell.
Yeah. I have a murder shed.
fuck it.
Yeah.
fuck
That would be my case to get into hell. I think that I could start a cult.
We stumbled on it. It's beautiful.
That's your good and
I
bad.
genuinely think I could start and lead a cult.
Circle complete.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you,
everyone.
on.
Thank you for being with us. Come on. Thank you for listening to this
Shamo.
Madonna-Infused podcast.
Mm.
Survive until the next one, which, if our release rate is any indication, will be in 2028.
No.
Yep.
Yeah. We'll do more often.
All right. We got to get out of here so Lauren can get to a show. Is it a
I'm
show?
going to a play at the Berkeley Repertory Theater.
Hell yeah.
Because I'm cultured AF.
That sounds great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What are you gonna do tonight, Ari?
Yeah.
I'm going to a weird therapy group thing.
Oh, that's right.
Encounter therapy?
Yeah.
Oh, get ready.
Is it really encounter
All
therapy?
your hot takes.
Well, it's not going to spiral. It's going to be fine.
Is it really though? Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to
Oh.
like a tea group.
So
which
it
is-
could spiral.
Yeah. I've seen stuff happen
Ugh.
in tea
Okay,
groups.
can you text us?
Do you have like a
After.
book of poetry slams you're about to lay on people when it's your turn? Like, what do you do?
You don't.
trauma?
Yeah, you don't just like unzip and like show your trauma panties. But
That's
people
what it feels like it was.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
during an early stage of a group, there's some of the way that a person articulated it was it goes from storming to forming to norming to performing, and so if the group doesn't know each other, it's very flirtatious and it's busy storming. So like
That's gonna be the motto for my cult.
storming.
Storming, forming,
Norming and performing
porning.
and porning.
Like you want to arrive at performing, but because these groups are always summoned and then abolished.
And also corning. There's gonna be a lot of corn.
Corning. Cornholing.
Like Corningware, but it also has corn in it.
Corning where?
Listen.
We gotta go.
Deforming.
I gotta leave. Deforming. We're gonna be storming into deforming.
Storming and deforming.
And then like our government, unnorming. And then gorming, which is like British slang for becoming stupid. So we'll be gorming. I don't know how it works. It's gormless was like a way they'd say brainless.
I think
What
it's
are we
based-
talking about now?
Gormless.
I have to pee.
Bye.
Bye.
I have to pee is a good ending.
We should always say I have to pee at the end.